So when we're talking about you as an individual, I am unique because I am this height, complexion, the way I appear, and also because of some other issues that just describe my physiology. Yes. And therefore, when you are talking about singlehood, you're also talking about how do I take care of this? You get it?
Yes.
I don't know whether you've come across guys who you are with in primary school, and then when you meet them right now, they look much older than you.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons maybe life has happened, but the other reason is maybe they got involved in drugs or alcohol and many other bad things that has made their bodies to look not to look their age. And therefore, one of the challenges that I'm throwing to you is one of the aspects of you developing a singlehood is take care of your body. Eat well, rest, avoid drugs and all those other substances that will bring harm to your body. You know why? Because much of what you're going to do in your life is in your body. And for you to be able to do it better and longer, you need to take care of your body. If you don't, if you are reckless in how you handle your body, you may not be here for long, or you may end up being here for long but living in misery. So take care of your body. The other aspect about our singlehood is the issue of our emotions. Emotions is just about the issues of feelings and our psychological being, and also the issue of our temperaments. So unajua kuna watu wenye wanakasirika haraka sana.
Oh yes.
Na kuna watu wenye hata unless usijue uchukue sindano, you take maybe a needle and poke them, that's when they can react. Yeah. So also part and parcel of us developing a singlehood is for us to be able to also to manage our emotions. There's something that was a certain author developed some years back. It's called EQ. It's called emotional intelligence.
Emotional quotient.
Yeah, quotient. Emotional intelligence. Like how intelligent are you emotionally? And it's about being self-aware and also being able to self-regulate. Self-awareness is this, that you understand your emotions and you know how to be able to navigate through those emotions. And also you understand other people's emotions and you know how to be able to respond to those. For example, for me, I'm very temperamental and therefore I'm very conscious about that. So, nikiona temperature imeanza kurise, I know how to go about it. Maybe I get out of the room or maybe just keep quiet or something, because it can get a bit crazy. Yeah? And I blame my mother for that anyway. Yeah. So you being developing a singlehood means being aware of who you are in terms of your emotions and being able to navigate through that, and also being aware of other people's emotions and being able to navigate through that. Because some people are successful in life because they have known how to manage their emotions. I have lost jobs and I have lost opportunities because of my emotions. There are times and someone says, maybe your boss says something and you just maybe answer back and something and you lose your job. So it's very important for you to be able to take care of that. Then the next thing on as far as our singlehood is concerned is the issue of our values. Values are things that you consider to be very important, in your life, and things like principles and ideals, the things that guide you, the things that you use to set boundaries in your life, to set boundaries. Things like faithfulness, honesty, accountability, transparency, reliability, things like those ones. Those are values that you need to be able to have. And it is in your age, if I was in your space, one of the things I'll do, I'll seek to kind of understand what are my values, define those ones, and be able to see how do I make them to be part and parcel of my life, even as maybe as a student, and as a young man, or as a young woman, because they really help. Did you know that we don't have an economic problem in this country? And we don't even have a political problem in this country. Did you know that? We don't have an economic problem. We don't have a leadership problem in this country. We don't have all those problems we don't have. What we have is a value system problem. Because we have discarded our values, and we are more engrossed with power and money and all those things that come with that. And to that extent now, everything has faltered. This building stands not because of cement and sand and the pillars alone. It stands because of principles. If the builder of this structure came here and told us, by the way, I just came to tell you that we made a mistake when we were building this structure, and we compromised on some principles, and it may come down anytime. Will you stay here?
No.
We'll go out. Why? Because we know that principles and values are more important than just the physicality, hardware aspect of it. So, what are your values? I'll challenge you to be able to ask yourself that question. What are my values? What are my principles? What are my ideals? What are some of these things that really guide me as an individual? Because those things are the ones that will make or break you. They're the ones that will make and break you. And then, of course, we have the issue of personality. That one, you guys are very conversant. Like, are you someone who is introverted or extroverted? Because personality is such a big deal to the extent that it makes you know how to respond to issues, to other people. And did you know that personalities also make you determine your career? Yes. The best writers are introverts. Did you know that? Because introverts have no problem staying in the library or in the study room for 20 hours a day. No matter how exciting the football match is or whatever it is out there, they can stay there. While extroverts want to be out there, introverts. So much of what we study in school, in our whatever we read and study, much of it, I would dare say, 75% plus of it has been produced by introverts. So don't apologize for your personality, but understand it and see how to be able to navigate around that. And then, of course, your sexuality. Are you male or female? Nowadays, it's a bit tricky. We have like 100 plus gender identities or something. But for now, let's stick to the ones we know. The two men. Are you male or female? And also, we are getting into muddy waters when we talk about orientation. Okay. So when we talk about identity nowadays, sexuality is a big deal. Are you male or female, or are you katikati there, or are you in transition? Things like those. And also, of course, your orientation. Are you heterosexual? Are you LGBTQ? Things like those. It's a reality that is in the world at the moment. And then, of course, there's the issue of now your intellect. Your intellect also has an element of your capability, like your intellectual quotient. There are people who have a better capacity to be able to grasp things and reproduce. And of course, also there are people who also are able to be more creative and innovative. So your intellect also defines who you are as an individual. And then the other thing that is related to that is your intellect eventually also determines your career. Because how you interact with knowledge also helps you to be able to know how to go about that knowledge and to be able to practice it. And then we have, of course, your finances. If someone asks you, which category do you fit in? Are you rich? Are you poor? Or are you middle class? What does someone category again?
Still children.
Huh? Majority of us here are students.
Yes.
And, but now your status, the socioeconomic status, is determined more majorly by your guardians and parents' status. So you can borrow from your parents or your guardians. But let me try to help you to be able to define your status now. According to 2014 Ipsos report, and it is good and once, they say that if you earn less than 50,000, you're considered to be poor. Eh? If you earn less than 50, per month. 50K. That is that. And then now, if you earn 50,000, between 50,000 and 400 and and 500,000, you are considered to be middle class. And then from 550 thereabouts going out upwards now, here in until billions, you're considered to be rich. So using that category, I don't know, where do you fit? Or where do our folks fit? And here's the thing, when they use that categorization, they said that 93% of Kenyans are poor.
Yes.
93% of Kenyans are? And then 90, was it, let me see, 93, and then, 93% of Kenyans are poor, 6% are middle class, and then 1% are rich. At least for 1% we agree with that. Yes. That 1% are rich. But sometimes when you look around, you feel like maybe the rich are about 15%. But that research kind of blew my mind, and I was wondering, okay. And by then I was doing, nilikuwa nachezea 40 hapo, so nilikuwa nasema, oh, okay. So, but now that is also defines who we are as individuals. It doesn't mean that you stay there, but you just have to be able to understand. And then second last but not least, your spirituality, your beliefs, your faith. You may be a Muslim, you may be a Christian, you may be a Hindu, you may be a Buddhist, traditionalist, atheist, agnostic, but it just has a matter of spirituality. And then now the last one there is now your social life, your relationships. So I've run through that as quickly as I can, and then now we can have a bit of discussion. Beryl, what time did I begin?
Was it 11:30 maybe?
Okay, it was 11? It was 11:40? Okay, so I don't because I don't want to go over. So you see now we have looked at all these aspects of singlehood, and it looks a bit complicated, but it's not. But the gist of it all is, as young as you are, it is a very, very good moment for you to begin investing in these aspects of your life. You get it?
Yes.
And the beauty about us human beings is that we can multitask, and we can handle life even comprehensively. And therefore, when we look at ourselves and say, okay, I'm an individual, and I want to eventually be successful in life, but it has to begin with me. About many of you guys were not born yet. 2002. We had a president who came in, it's called Kibaki. And previously before that, we had another one called Moi. And when Moi was in power, many people in the opposition used to really talk badly about his government and say there's corruption and there's tribalism and everything. And if only we guys can be there, can take over and be in government, we can change things. So whenever I look back, I usually wonder, because all those people, almost all the people who are in opposition have been in government. But look at where we are at the moment. The people who are in the opposition then claimed that Moi was the problem. But when they got into government, they became the problem. And then it just boiled down to one thing. Some people ask, why do good people change? And this is my answer. For sure, environment can change you. You can go into a space and you get people who are living a certain kind of life, and you want to adapt. But the other reason also that makes me explains that is people do not really change. Do you know there are people who do not sin, not because they are not sinners, but because they cannot afford to sin?
It's in their nature.
Like there are people who go to church on Sunday or go to the mosque on Friday because they are broke. Do you know that? If you give them money, they'll be playing golf on Sunday or on Friday. I'm using that analogy to say that the problem with those people in the opposition was not necessarily that they changed. It's that in their singleness, they were still bad people and corrupt people. They had not just gotten the chance to be able to express themselves. So that's why for me, singlehood is very key, because if you work on yourself and seek to explore and develop and enhance your individuality, your purpose, and your identity in terms of the concept of your values and all those other things, whenever opportunities come, they do not change you. They enhance who you are. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Like if you got into a relationship and you are an honest person, the relationship will just now make it even more clearer that you're an honest person. But if you got into a relationship and eventually even wedded and you are not an honest person, do you know what has happened? We have just had someone who is dishonest, but who has happened to be married. You are a dishonest married person. You can be a dishonest MCA. You can be a dishonest or a corrupt lecturer. Why? Not because the office of being a lecturer is bad, but because you as a single person, you have not worked on your individuality and your purpose and your identity. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Yes. Therefore, it is very important, even as we go through this program, that we begin asking, in addition to me making the presentation, going to do whatever I'm supposed to do, am I really working on myself, or am I just doing this because it is a requirement? Because you can present something to Beryl that's very good, but really sensitive on you. How many of us out here have very good write-ups and we write very good write-ups to donors out there, but ukikuja kwa ground of it was it? Or they are not there. There are people who have very good offices out here, but when you go to the ground, there's nothing happening. It's a problem of singlehood. I'm not discouraging you to be there to get into relationship and marriage. No, we'll get there later. But I'm saying, could we just pause a bit? And having said that, I'd like us to have just a small discussion, and then I'll wrap up. Maybe in groups of 3 or 4. I want you to ask yourself to discuss this. Who am I? And then the next question is, how would you rate your singleness at the moment? 1 being the least, and then 10 being the very best. And then the third question is, which aspects of my singlehood should I improve or enhance? Which aspects of singlehood should I improve or enhance? In fact, let me do this. Since I want us to do this, I'd like us to go outside and sit around those tables and then do that for the next 15 minutes and then come back. So thank you guys for that session of just getting to learn from one another. Yes. So as we wrap it up, I would like to remind us that singlehood is a state not a destination. A state, not a destination. It is a state that will still continue working on in our lives at this level and even up to in the next 10, 15 or so years. Because when you do that, you become a better individual and you become a better person in whatever community you're in. And as I said, it is just to remind you, it is a state of exploring, discovering, and developing your individuality, your identity, and your purpose, no matter your marital status. You get?
Yes.
But this is now in our context. When you go there and you put that word description there, people will be confused a bit. But I wanted us to understand that before we even venture into the issue of friendship and networking and relationship. So maybe I just want to take a question or two, and then we can wrap it up. Any question? If you have any question. Go ahead. Go ahead, Desta.
How can somebody maintain their individuality without losing it in a relationship setting? Relationship not necessarily being a romantic. Maybe in your friendship, you had your principles, but you had said earlier that your environment can influence you in the long run.
Yeah.
So how can somebody maintain their individuality yet you want to create a meaningful connection with somebody?
Fundamental, two things. There's what we call interdependence and independence. And a life well lived is where you balance between independence and independence. Can I give you an example even in marriage?
Give us.
In marriage, a good marriage is where there's both interdependence and also independence. For example, my wife runs a business, and I consider myself to be an educator. And there are times also when we're in the house, I'm doing my thing, and she's doing her thing. You get? But I'm conscious of the fact that we are married. You get what I'm saying? My relationship with her defines how I live my life. But it doesn't kind of like limit me in what I do. It just makes me to be able to set boundaries. Like I can't show up at midnight, like just like that. If I have a reason why I'm sure I have to be home by midnight, I'll have to be able to communicate that. But if I was now a single and married individual, I just show up at midnight in my house and no one will ask me. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
So my point, Esther, is you just need to be able to have a balance between interdependence and independence. Because there's, what your question is fundamental, because also there's an extreme version of singlehood, where people become single and they become too inward looking to the extent that now they exclude other people in their lives. And also there's also the other extreme where you become so involved in community and other people to the extent that you lose yourself. And my thrust in this topic of singlehood is for us to be able to work on our identity, individuality, and purpose, so that we become better versions of ourselves. And we see when you become a better version of yourself, automatically there's a sense in which you become a very valuable individual in your family, in your workspace, in your church, at the mosque, and in society. And as I said, the challenge we have in our nation and continent is not an issue of the hardware, it's the software. And the software goes back to the aspect of singlehood. If I am a straight person, and then I'm put in a straight, in terms of my values, if I'm put in a context where I need to be to steward maybe resources or whatever it is, then it will just show up in that space. So I don't know whether I've answered your question, Esther. So there's places, and it costs for you to have boundaries. To say, okay, these are my reducible minimums. Good. Like I want to socialize, but there are certain things I cannot, according to my values, I cannot do. Good. Okay.
Thank you. My name is Choge. I really appreciate you mentioning boundaries because that is usually the baseline for any healthy relationship. So there should be a healthy relationship, there have to be boundaries so that you can give to that relationship effectively and efficiently. So, in that case, I have one question. What is the difference between interdependence and dependence? And after you answer that, how you answer that?
Okay.
Depends on the
Interdependence is where you appreciate the fact that you are not an island, and you are not self-sufficient, completely self-sufficient, and therefore you need also other people to be part and parcel of your life. It's kind of like being a team player, and it can go to all sections. Like it can apply to in a family setting, it can apply in a workspace, it can apply in a church or in a community setting, where you realize, okay, I am a single person and I am competent, I'm confident, maybe even I'm rich, whatever it is you consider yourself to be. But still, there are certain things that I need from other people, or I am conscious of that and I'm willing to be able even to share that with other people. So interdependence is a kind of like an aspect of being willing to cross-pollinate, to share with others and also to receive from others. And then independence is where you realize that after all has been said and done, I am an individual and I have got to be responsible for my life. You get it? And this is what I usually say. My wife can bathe me, but she cannot shower on my behalf. I don't know whether I'm making sense. Huh? She can bathe me, which is now interdependence. No. Maybe I'm in a place where I'm incapacitated and I need to be bathed, and she can bathe me. So you see now, interdependence. Or maybe some people bathe each other because of it's a romantic gesture. You get what I'm saying?
yes.
Yeah. But now, she can't go to shower, she's in the bathroom, and then I'm saying now I cannot shower because she is showering for me. That is independence. You get what I'm saying? Now there are certain things that I can only, she can brush my teeth, but she cannot brush on my behalf. I don't know whether I'm getting.
I asked interdependence and dependence, not dependence.
Oh, and
Dependence.
Okay. Let me dependence. Dependence is where you kind of like have an unhealthy reliance on others, to the extent that if they are not there or if they do not sort you out, your life crumbles. And sometimes even it happens in a marriage setting. You find that maybe one of the spouse is not there present in terms of maybe geographical location, or the person, and you find the other person just crumbles because they never really worked on the issue of being interdependent but independent. So overdependence is where you is an extreme version of dependence, of interdependence, depending on other people to the extent that you can't function without them. Yeah.
So if I'm reliable, in a team we're supposed to be reliable to each other.
Yeah.
So that's interdependence.
Yeah.
Reliability is interdependence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Just
You can have an engagement with Joke during lunchtime.
yeah, I think so. Yeah. It's true. But it's okay. I'll give you guys my contact and then you can always engage. Yeah. Okay.
You've mentioned boundaries. You've mentioned boundaries.
Kukudu project mazee mwanaume toa hiyo kitu.
You've mentioned boundaries and principles. Should these two at any time be compromised when relating with others?
I don't know. It's a tricky question. I would say this: if I use the purest form of my understanding of principles, someone says that in matters of principle, stand like a rock. But in matters of preference, you can adjust. So I would say if it is a principle, I would say, your name please? Ronnie. Rooney? Am I Ronnie? Rooney. So Rooney, a principle is something that you hold so dear. For example, I can say, there are those people who say, for them, sexual propriety or rather purity is very important for them, to the extent that I would rather lose a girlfriend or a boyfriend. You get what I'm saying? To them, that is a principle. You get? But to some people, they say, okay, I don't know, I don't think it's a big deal. Huh? If I love you and you love me, we can compromise a bit. Maybe you can talk about maybe the frequency. You get what I'm saying? But if, but now that one to me, I'll say it is not really a principle for them. Then it's more of a preference. So if it's a really principle, Rooney, I don't think he should compromise on it. And principles has the element of values, things like honesty, integrity, faithfulness. Let me give you an example, Rooney, as I finish. If I told you I eat ugali most of the time, what does that one mean? That sometimes I don't eat ugali, and it's something kawaida. Or I watch football a lot of times, or most of the time. That means sometimes I watch, but sometimes I don't. But if I said I am faithful to my wife most of the time,
There is a question mark somewhere. There is a question mark somewhere. Why?
are you getting me? So one is the fact that I am faithful to my wife many times, but not sometimes I'm not faithful. It's a principle. But that's principle.